Kyle Rittenhouse was rightly acquitted of 3 murder charges. I know when the final verdict came out of him being not guilty, a lot of people in the Twitter world were angry, upset, and outraged. But it was clear from their responses that they didn't actually follow the trial, but rather get all their evidence of what was going on by watching left-leaning media like CNN, MSNBC, and many more. They all had the same response to the trial. They talked about how Kyle is a white supremacist, he's part of the KKK, and that he should not, and the American judicial system should not let a man walk who's part of the KKK for free. They brought up that he took a gun from one state to the other. He crossed a state borderline with a gun. They talked about him going to this Black Lives Matter protest, taking out a gun and shooting everyone that he saw, and killing a bunch of black people. And he put his fist up saying white power and he ran away. This is what the Twitter world said about the trial. That's what the left-leaning media trolls on Twitter said about what was going on with the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. This is what he did. But if you watch the actual case and you looked at the evidence provided by the prosecutor, who, by the way, should never be a lawyer anymore. This guy is an absolute fucking idiot. He has no idea what he is doing. He looked like an absolute monkey in the court. He did not know what he was doing. He did not know what evidence to present. He was manipulating stuff. He was arguing with the judge. And then he took on an AK-47 and pointed it at the judge and pointed it at the jury. This guy was an absolute idiot. He was the best defense that Kyle had in the case. Kyle didn't even have to have a lawyer. He could have just let the prosecutor talk the whole time and he would have won. But if you look at the evidence that was presented by the prosecutor and by the defendant, the jury came to the correct conclusion of him not being guilty. You know when people talk about this, so all the stuff that was mentioned, Kyle being a white supremacist, that's an outrageous lie. That's far from the truth. Kyle himself did an interview where he stated that he supports the Black Lives Matter movement. And the only reason that he went there, Wisconsin, the only reason that he went there was to stop buildings from being burned down by the rioters. People that are not part of the Black Lives Matter movement. Rioters, people that are the worst types of people that see something bad happening, go, well, I can take benefits from this. I can go do my own stuff. I can go steal stuff. As people are protesting, trying to save lives, I can go steal a TV from Target. Those people, he was trying to stop those people from burning down more buildings, looting more businesses. That's what he was there for. He was there to protect buildings and businesses from going out of business. He was not there to hurt the Black Lives Matter movement, rather protect people's livelihood. They talked about him crossing state borderline with a gun, which was an absolute lie. He purchased the gun where the protest was happening. The evidence showed, the receipts show that he purchased the gun from the state where the protest was happening. And then they talk about the CNN, MSNBC, and all these left-leaning people that are on Twitter, that are on media, made it seem like he killed black people. You know, this was a war where there was one racist against people that are anti-racist. That was not the case. That was far from the truth. He killed white people. This was white-on-white crime. We need to put more emphasis on white-on-white crime because it happens a lot. It happens every single day. He did not kill any black people. He killed white people. He killed 3 white people. And the reason why he won this case, why he was found not guilty, self-defense. Self-defense is the reason he was found not guilty. If you watch the video, this case should have lasted 10 minutes. 10 minutes tops. Watch the video, case done. It's self-defense. You can see him standing there with the gun in the video. You can see him standing there with the gun. He's doing nothing. He's just protecting. The people see that he has a gun. They get scared. Oh my God, he has a gun. So they try to chase him down. And one guy gets to him and puts it to the ground and tries to take his gun. And taking his gun, You know what he's going to do after he takes Kyle's gun? He's going to shoot and kill Kyle. And Kyle only has one chance to live. So what does Kyle do? Self-defense. When he's on the ground, he shoots his rifle. And that results in 3 people dying, unfortunately. But that's self-defense. His life was at risk. He had to take some action to protect himself, and that's what he did. Self-defense. He would have been guilty. He would have been guilty if he did what CNN said he did. If he just walked into a protest and started shooting, Kyle would be in jail right now. He would be serving a life sentence. He would be in jail because he killed innocent people. But that was not the case. He was about to die. He was on the verge of dying, and he had to take some actions to protect himself, and that's what he did. And that, unfortunately, resulted in 3 people getting killed. I find it kind of ironic that one of the guys that he killed was a sexual predator who died getting hit in the groin. That's ironic. Come on, that's karma at its finest. But it was the correct decision because it was based on self-defense. But another point that was brought up by the left-leaning media was that the judicial system of America is broken. It's broken, it's racist. You could argue that. You can 100% argue that, and I think I can actually back that point. I can 100% back that point. I do believe if you look at the evidence, if you look at studies that have looked into the judicial system of America, you'll find that black people are given harsher penalties, harsher sentences for the same crime that white people commit. I do agree with that. You can also see in certain instances where a black person would go to jail for a crime where a white person might not go to jail. Like, you can see that happening. And you can also argue maybe Kyle got away with it because he's rich. But if you look at this case individually, you look at the evidence provided by both sides, and you look at the video, and you follow the trial, it was a clear self-defense. His life was at risk, and he was about to die, and he took the only chance he had to live was his rifle, and he shot it, and that resulted in 3 people dying, but he was about to die, so it was self-defense. And I think we can all agree that if it was a black person, if it was an Asian person, if it was a Hispanic, white, they all should be given the same level of respect that Kyle was. He didn't get away with it, but he got away with it, and rightfully those people should get away with it too if they commit the same thing. And it was self-defense, and it was the correct verdict. It states in the law that if you're using self-defense, if you're about to die and you're using self-defense, you will not be charged with a crime. And I think that's one of the best laws we have. What are we supposed to do? Suppose you're living at home and someone breaks into your house and he has a gun, and he points the gun at you and he's about to shoot you. And you find a knife and you throw the knife at the guy and you end up killing him. But he was about to shoot you and kill you, and you use self-defense and you killed him. Would you want then the law, the police to put you in jail and arrest you and give you a harsh penalty for that? Or would you like to go, well, I was in danger, I was about to die, and you get off? I think we would argue that we should get off because of self-defense. So in that instance, and in this instance, for this case, he should get off because it was clearly self-defense. It was the correct decision by the jury.